In the vast expanse of space where stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across an endless black canvas, humanity had finally taken its first steps beyond Earth. For centuries, humans had looked up at the night sky with wonder and curiosity, dreaming of what lay beyond their blue planet. Now those dreams were becoming reality. The discovery of faster-than-light travel opened doors to galaxies far beyond anything anyone could have imagined. But as humanity ventured into this new frontier, they quickly realized that space wasn't empty. It was filled with other civilizations, some ancient, others young, all vying for power and resources. The Galactic Council was the governing body that oversaw these civilizations, composed of representatives from dozens of species spread across countless star systems. It was meant to be a beacon of unity and cooperation. However, in practice, the Council often served the interests of the most powerful factions, leaving smaller or less advanced races to fend for themselves. Humanity, still relatively new to interstellar politics, found itself at the bottom of the hierarchy. To many Council members, Earth was nothing more than a backward, insignificant world, a mere blip on the cosmic radar. But Earth wasn't content to stay silent forever. Over time, humanity began making waves. Their rapid technological advancements caught the attention of both allies and enemies alike. They discovered rich deposits of rare minerals on uninhabited planets near their solar system, resources that were highly sought after by the Council's dominant powers. These discoveries sparked debates within the Council chambers about how to handle Earth's sudden rise. Some argued that humanity should be embraced as equals, while others saw them as a threat that needed to be controlled before they grew too strong. Tensions reached a boiling point when Earth claimed ownership of a contested star system called Vega 7. This system was not only rich in resources but also strategically located, making it a coveted prize for any civilization looking to expand its influence. The Council demanded that Earth relinquish control of Vega 7, citing ancient treaties and territorial claims made by older species. When Earth refused, citing their own exploration efforts and investments in the region, the Council grew furious. Negotiations broke down, and whispers of war began to circulate among the stars. On Earth, leaders watched these developments with growing concern. President Elena Rivera, a charismatic yet pragmatic leader, stood firm in her decision to protect Vega 7. She knew that giving in to the Council's demands would set a dangerous precedent, one that could leave humanity vulnerable to exploitation in the future. In secret meetings held deep beneath Washington, D.C., she gathered her closest advisors and military strategists to discuss their options. "If they think we're going to roll over and play nice," she said, slamming her fist on the table, "they've got another thing coming." Among those present was General Marcus Cole, a decorated veteran known for his tactical brilliance. He had spent years preparing Earth's defenses for potential conflicts, knowing full well that humanity's peaceful intentions wouldn't always be reciprocated. Also in attendance was Ambassador Jonathan Hayes, a seasoned diplomat tasked with navigating the treacherous waters of galactic politics. His attempts to reason with the Council had so far yielded little success, but he remained hopeful that diplomacy might still prevail. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, scientists worked tirelessly on Project Nemesis, a classified initiative designed to give Earth an edge in case negotiations failed. Hidden away in underground facilities, teams of engineers and physicists pushed the boundaries of technology, developing weapons and defense systems unlike anything seen before. Plasma cannons capable of vaporizing enemy ships, stealth fighters, equipped with cloaking devices and orbital platforms armed with precision-guided missiles, were just a few of the innovations being tested. Every day brought them closer to completing their ultimate goal, creating tools powerful enough to deter even the most formidable opponents. As weeks turned into months, the situation grew increasingly tense. Reports poured in from reconnaissance, drones monitoring nearby star systems, showing signs of unusual activity. Massive fleets belonging to various Council-aligned species were amassing along Earth's borders, their movements unmistakably hostile. It became clear that the Council wasn't bluffing. They were preparing for invasion. Despite this looming threat, morale on Earth remained high. Citizens rallied together, donating resources, volunteering for service, and supporting one another, through shared determination. Posters plastered across cities read, "We stand together," serving as a reminder that no matter how daunting the challenge, humanity would face it united. President Rivera addressed the nation in a televised speech, her voice steady and resolute. "They may underestimate us," she declared, standing in front of a backdrop of Earth's flag. "But let me make one thing perfectly clear. We will not back down. We will fight for our right to exist, to thrive, and to claim our place among the stars." Her words ignited a fire in the hearts of millions, inspiring ordinary people to believe in extraordinary possibilities. Back in the council chambers, arguments raged on about how best to deal with Earth. Some members advocated for immediate military action, believing that swift and decisive force would crush humanity's spirit. Others urged caution, warning that underestimating Earth could lead to unforeseen consequences. Among the dissenting voices was Counselor Zinara, a wise and respected elder from a distant planet. She reminded her peers of history's lessons, that arrogance and hubris often led to downfall. "Do not mistake silence for weakness," she cautioned, her tone grave. "Earth has proven itself resourceful and resilient. If we push them too far, we risk awakening something we cannot control." Despite such warnings, the majority voted in favor of imposing severe sanctions on Earth, cutting off access to critical resources and trade routes. This move was intended to weaken humanity economically and technologically, forcing them into submission without resorting to outright warfare. However, the Council failed to consider one crucial factor: the indomitable human spirit. Instead of breaking under pressure, Earth responded with defiance. Factories ramped up production, recycling materials and finding innovative ways to compensate for shortages. Scientists redoubled their efforts, working around the clock to complete Project Nemesis ahead of schedule. Even children pitched in, organizing fundraisers and spreading messages of hope and resistance. Ambassador Hayes continued his diplomatic efforts, traveling between alien embassies in hopes of swaying opinions. Though met with skepticism and hostility, he refused to give up. During one particularly heated exchange with a council representative, he leaned forward and said, "You think you know us because you see our technology and assume we're primitive. But there's something you don't understand, something you can't measure or quantify. It's the will to survive, to protect what's ours, and trust me, you haven't seen anything yet." His words fell mostly on deaf ears, but cracks began forming within the council's ranks. Rumors spread of discontent among certain member species who questioned the wisdom of provoking Earth. Whispers of rebellion hinted at shifting allegiances, though nothing concrete emerged yet. Meanwhile, Earth prepared for the worst, knowing that the Council's patience wouldn't last forever. Troops trained relentlessly, civilians stockpiled supplies, and governments coordinated emergency response plans. Everyone understood that the coming storm would test them in ways they couldn't fully anticipate. And then, one fateful evening, the skies above major cities lit up with streaks of light, not from shooting stars, but from incoming alien vessels. The Council's fleet had arrived, signaling the start of what promised to be a brutal conflict. Panic rippled through crowds gathered in public squares, watching as massive ships descended ominously overhead. Yet amidst the chaos, a strange calm settled over the planet. People looked at one another, nodded silently, and braced for impact. They knew the odds were stacked against them, but they also knew one thing for certain: Earth wasn't going down without a fight. In the days that followed, images of fiery dogfights and heroic acts flooded news channels worldwide. Pilots maneuvered, sleek fighters through dense formations of enemy craft, their movements precise and daring. Ground forces mobilized to defend key locations, holding their ground despite overwhelming numbers. Civilians banded together, offering shelter, food, and support to those in need. Humanity's response was fierce, unyielding, and utterly unexpected by the Council, who had assumed Earth would crumble under pressure. What the Council didn't realize was that they had underestimated not just Earth's technology, but its people. Each soldier fighting on the front lines carried the weight of their ancestors' struggles, the battles fought for freedom, justice, and survival. Every Civilian contributing in their own way embodied the resilience that had defined humanity since its earliest days. Together they formed an unstoppable force driven by love for their home and refusal to surrender. As the initial shock of the invasion subsided, a glimmer of hope emerged. Intelligence reports revealed weaknesses in the Council's strategy, opportunities that Earth could exploit if acted upon swiftly. Plans were drawn up, alliances forged, and counterattacks launched. Slowly, but as the Council's sanctions tightened around Earth, humanity found itself in a precarious position. Resources dwindled, trade routes were severed, and tensions escalated daily. Yet, instead of crumbling under pressure, Earth's resolve only grew stronger. Deep beneath the surface of the planet, hidden laboratories buzzed with activity as scientists worked tirelessly on Project Nemesis, a secret initiative that would become humanity's greatest weapon against its galactic oppressors. Meanwhile, far above in orbit, elite pilots trained for battles they knew were inevitable. The stakes had never been higher, and every second counted. Project Nemesis was more than just a military endeavor. It was a testament to human ingenuity and determination. In sprawling underground facilities shielded from prying eyes, teams of physicists, engineers, and programmers pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Their goal was simple yet audacious: develop technology so advanced that it could rival even the most sophisticated alien weaponry. At the heart of this effort was Dr. Laura Chen, a brilliant scientist whose groundbreaking research on quantum energy fields had caught the attention of Earth's top brass. Her theories suggested that by harnessing unstable particles within controlled environments, humans could create devastating plasma cannons capable of tearing through enemy shields. For months, Dr. Chen and her team labored day and night, enduring countless failures before finally achieving success. One fateful evening, their prototype cannon fired its first shot in a simulated environment. The blast obliterated a reinforced steel target, placed kilometers away, leaving behind nothing but molten slag. Cheers erupted throughout the facility as researchers hugged one another, tears streaming down their faces. They had done it. They had created something truly revolutionary. But there was no time to celebrate. With the Council's fleet looming ever closer, production lines sprang into action, churning out weapons destined for both ground forces and starships alike. While scientists fine-tuned their creations, Earth's military prepared its warriors for battle. Elite pilots underwent grueling training programs designed to simulate combat scenarios against superior foes. Inside state-of-the-art flight simulators, cadets faced relentless waves of enemy fighters, learning to adapt quickly and think strategically under pressure. Among them was Captain Sofia Alvarez, a fearless pilot whose skills earned her a reputation as one of Earth's finest defenders. She spent hours perfecting maneuvers that would allow her squadron to outmaneuver faster, more heavily armed alien ships. "We may not have their speed," she told her crew during briefings, "but we've got something better: our wits." Captain Alvarez wasn't alone in her mission. Dozens of squadrons like hers dotted Earth's skies, each honing their abilities in preparation for war. Ground troops practiced urban warfare tactics, preparing for potential invasions in major cities. Engineers retrofitted civilian buildings with defensive systems, turning skyscrapers into makeshift fortresses. Civilians played their part too, donating materials and volunteering for emergency services. Entire neighborhoods transformed into supply hubs where food, medicine, and ammunition were stockpiled. Everyone understood that when the Council struck, coordination and unity would be key to survival. Amidst all this preparation, Ambassador Jonathan Hayes continued his diplomatic efforts, though hope seemed increasingly slim. Traveling between alien embassies scattered across Earth, he pleaded for reason and restraint. His arguments fell largely on deaf ears, dismissed as desperate attempts to buy time. During one particularly heated meeting with Counselor Vrax, a reptilian diplomat notorious for his disdain toward humanity, Hayes leaned forward and said, "You see us as primitive, but you're missing the bigger picture. We don't fight because we enjoy destruction. We fight because we refuse to let bullies dictate our future." Though Vrax sneered at his words, others present exchanged uneasy glances. Perhaps Earth wasn't as powerless as they assumed. Hayes's persistence paid off in unexpected ways. As rumors of Project Nemesis spread among council members, cracks began forming within their ranks. Certain species, weary of funding endless wars and resentful of the council's authoritarian rule, started questioning whether attacking Earth was truly worth the cost. Some even hinted at covert support should conflict arise. These whispers reached President Rivera, who seized the opportunity to strengthen alliances. Secret meetings took place aboard neutral vessels floating in deep space, where representatives from sympathetic species pledged aid in exchange for post-war considerations. Humanity suddenly found itself with unlikely friends willing to challenge the Council's dominance. But diplomacy alone wouldn't win the war. Intelligence reports revealed troubling details about the Council's plans. Reconnaissance drones detected massive fleets amassing near Earth's borders, their movements unmistakably hostile. It became clear that invasion was imminent. General Marcus Cole, tasked with coordinating Earth's defenses, devised a multi-layered strategy combining traditional warfare with unconventional tactics. Orbital defense platforms armed with experimental railguns formed the first line of resistance, designed to thin out enemy numbers before they reached the atmosphere. Below, stealth fighters equipped with cloaking devices would strike vital targets while avoiding direct confrontation. Ground forces stood ready to repel any landings, fortified positions ensuring maximum casualties for minimal losses. The psychological impact of these preparations rippled across society. News broadcasts showed images of towering motherships being constructed in orbit, symbols of defiance aimed at intimidating the Council. Posters urging citizens to stand strong adorned every street corner, accompanied by stories of ordinary people stepping up to contribute. Factories operated non-stop, recycling scrap metal and repurposing outdated tech to meet demands. Children organized fundraisers, selling handmade crafts to raise money for soldiers' families. Even artists joined the cause, creating murals depicting heroic figures battling alien invaders. Everywhere you looked, humanity stood united, not out of fear but out of love for their home. Yet despite these efforts, anxiety lingered. Families gathered around dinner tables discussing evacuation plans, parents hugging children tighter than usual. Couples whispered prayers together, hoping loved ones serving on the front lines would return safely. Despite outward displays of confidence, everyone knew the coming storm would test them in unimaginable ways. Still, amidst uncertainty, a quiet determination settled over the planet. People reminded themselves why they fought, not just for survival, but for freedom, dignity, and the right to chart their own destiny among the stars. Then came the breakthrough that changed everything. A daring raid led by Captain Alvarez targeted a heavily guarded data repository belonging to the Council. Hidden deep within an asteroid belt near Jupiter, the facility housed classified information detailing troop movements, supply chains, and strategic objectives. Breaking through layers of security proved challenging, but Alvarez's squadron executed the operation flawlessly. Under cover of darkness provided by cloaked fighters, Marines infiltrated the base, downloading terabytes of data onto portable drives before retreating without detection. Back on Earth, analysts combed through the stolen files, uncovering shocking revelations. Evidence emerged suggesting that certain factions within the Council deliberately provoked Earth to justify seizing control of its rich natural resources. Documents outlined plans to dismantle Earth's government, install puppet regimes, and exploit its population for labor. This betrayal fueled outrage not only domestically but internationally as well. Sympathetic species who had doubted Earth's claims now saw undeniable proof of the Council's malicious intent. Public opinion shifted dramatically, with calls for solidarity echoing across star systems. President Rivera addressed the galaxy in a historic broadcast, presenting evidence of the Council's treachery alongside impassioned pleas for justice. They sought to divide us, to pit neighbor against neighbor, she declared, standing tall before cameras transmitting live feeds to billions. But today, we stand united, not as individuals, but as guardians of peace and prosperity. Together, we will expose corruption and reclaim what is rightfully ours. Her speech resonated deeply, inspiring renewed commitment from allies and emboldening dissenters within the Council's ranks. With newfound momentum, Earth accelerated its preparations. Engineers raced to complete construction of the Archangel, a colossal mothership equipped with cutting-edge weaponry derived from Project Nemesis. Designed to serve as both command center and flagship, the vessel represented humanity's final stand, a symbol of hope amid despair. Its sleek design incorporated elements of stealth and durability, ensuring it could withstand prolonged engagements. Crews worked around the clock, welding hull plates and calibrating systems until exhaustion blurred vision. When completed, the Archangel would tip the scales decisively in humanity's favor. As launch day approached, anticipation hung thick in the air. Pilots ran final checks on their craft, mechanics inspected engines for flaws, and commanders reviewed battle plans ad nauseum. Families gathered at spaceports bidding farewell to loved ones heading into unknown dangers. Emotions ran high. Tears mingled with laughter, hugs lingered. The day humanity had been preparing for finally arrived. The Council's massive fleet, a sprawling armada of sleek warships and hulking dreadnoughts, descended upon Earth with terrifying precision. Their ships blotted out the sun as they entered orbit, casting ominous shadows over cities below. Panic rippled through crowds gathered in public squares, but amidst the chaos, something remarkable happened. Earth didn't crumble. Instead, it struck back with a ferocity that shocked even its staunchest defenders. The battle began high above the atmosphere, where orbital defense platforms armed with experimental railguns unleashed a barrage of fire upon the invaders. These platforms, positioned strategically around the planet, acted as Earth's first line of resistance. Each shot tore through space like lightning, striking enemy vessels with devastating force. One by one, alien ships exploded into fiery debris, their wreckage tumbling harmlessly toward Earth's surface. Cheers erupted from control rooms as operators watched their efforts pay off, but there was no time to celebrate. The Council's numbers were overwhelming. From hidden hangars scattered across continents, Earth's stealth fighters emerged, cloaked in advanced technology that rendered them nearly invisible to enemy sensors. Piloted by elite squadrons trained for this very moment, these fighters darted between larger alien ships, targeting weak points and disabling critical systems. Captain Sofia Alvarez led her squadron with unmatched skill, weaving through dense formations of enemy craft while barking orders to her team. "Stay sharp," she shouted over comms. "We're not just fighting, we're surviving." Her words rang true as plasma bolts zipped past her cockpit, narrowly missing her ship. The Council's forces weren't holding back. Their weapons discharged beams of energy capable of slicing through steel like paper. Yet despite their technological superiority, they struggled to counter Earth's unpredictable tactics. Fighters split into smaller groups, forcing the enemy to divide their attention. Ground-based anti-aircraft batteries joined the fray, launching missiles that screamed skyward before detonating in brilliant flashes of light. Together, these combined efforts created chaos among the Council's ranks, giving humanity a fighting chance. Back on the ground, cities transformed into fortresses overnight. Skyscrapers bristled with mounted turrets, their barrels trained on the skies above. Civilians huddled in underground bunkers, listening to distant booms and flashes of light illuminating windows. News broadcasts streamed live footage of dogfights, raging above iconic landmarks, the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower, the Great Wall of China, all framed against streaks of fire and smoke. Reporters narrated breathlessly, capturing both the horror and heroism unfolding before their eyes. Children clung to parents, wide-eyed with fear yet strangely proud of the bravery displayed by their defenders. General Marcus Cole coordinated the defense effort from Earth's Central Command Hub, a secure facility buried deep beneath Washington. DC maps projected onto walls showed real-time updates of troop movements and battle zones. His voice crackled over communication channels, calm but firm. "Hold your positions," he instructed commanders stationed worldwide. "Every second buys us time." He knew that sustaining such an intense assault wouldn't be easy, but every minute delayed gave Earth's scientists and engineers precious opportunities to refine their strategies. As hours turned into days, casualties mounted on both sides. Alien ships rained destruction upon Earth's surface, leveling entire neighborhoods and reducing once thriving metropolises to rubble. But humanity refused to yield. Soldiers fought valiantly, using guerrilla tactics to ambush landing parties attempting to establish footholds. Civilians pitched in wherever possible, ferrying supplies to front lines or treating wounded troops in makeshift field hospitals. Stories of courage spread quickly. A young medic risking his life to drag injured comrades to safety, a farmer turning his tractor into an impromptu barricade, a teacher organizing evacuations for terrified students. Every act of defiance fueled morale, proving that Earth wasn't just defending itself, it was retaliating with unmatched resolve. In the midst of this carnage, Project Nemesis revealed its full potential. Plasma cannons mounted on orbital platforms fired continuously, their beams carving paths of destruction through enemy formations. Stealth fighters equipped with cloaking devices slipped behind enemy lines, targeting command centers aboard flagship vessels. On the ground, newly developed exosuits allowed infantry to wield heavy weaponry normally reserved for vehicles, turning ordinary soldiers into walking tanks. Even civilians contributed, hacking into alien communication networks to disrupt coordination efforts. One particularly daring operation exemplified humanity's ingenuity. A small team of Marines infiltrated a Council supply depot located on the Moon, sabotaging stockpiles of ammunition and fuel destined for frontline units. Led by Sergeant Liam Carter, a grizzled veteran known for his unorthodox methods, the mission succeeded beyond expectations. As explosions rocked the depot, cutting off vital resources for the Council's fleet, cheers erupted at Earth's command center. "That'll slow them down," Carter muttered under his breath as he and his team escaped aboard a stolen transport shuttle. Despite these victories, the toll of war weighed heavily on everyone involved. Families mourned loved ones lost in battle, while survivors carried scars both visible and invisible. Hospitals overflowed with patients, doctors working tirelessly to save lives despite limited supplies. Yet even in moments of despair, hope flickered like a candle in the darkness. Songs played over radio waves, reminding listeners of better times ahead. Artists painted murals depicting soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder with civilians, symbols of unity etched permanently into walls. Humanity's spirit remained unbroken, forged stronger by adversity. Ambassador Jonathan Hayes continued his diplomatic efforts, reaching out to sympathetic species who had grown disillusioned with the Council's aggression. Secret meetings took place aboard neutral vessels floating in deep space, where representatives pledged covert support in exchange for post-war considerations. Supplies arrived clandestinely, smuggled through blockades by allies unwilling to stand idly by. Messages of solidarity poured in from across the galaxy, bolstering Earth's resolve during its darkest hour. Meanwhile, construction crews worked feverishly to complete the Archangel, humanity's ultimate weapon against the Council. Engineers welded hull plates and calibrated systems around the clock, driven by exhaustion yet fueled by purpose. When finished, the colossal mothership would serve as both command center and flagship, a symbol of defiance aimed squarely at the Council's heart. Its sleek design incorporated elements of stealth and durability, ensuring it could withstand prolonged engagements. Crews ran final tests, verifying every system functioned flawlessly before launch. Finally, after weeks of relentless combat, the tide began to turn. Intelligence reports revealed fractures within the Council's coalition, with certain factions questioning the wisdom of continuing hostilities. Morale among enemy troops plummeted as losses mounted and resources dwindled. Captured prisoners spoke of dissent brewing within their own ranks, whispers of rebellion hinting at shifting allegiances. Earth seized this opportunity, launching coordinated counterattacks designed to exploit weaknesses exposed by internal strife. One such attack targeted a Council stronghold orbiting Mars, a key logistical hub supplying frontline units. A joint task force comprising stealth fighters, bombers, and ground troops executed the operation with surgical precision. Under cover of darkness provided by cloaking devices, Marines infiltrated the facility, planting explosives at strategic locations before retreating without detection. When charges detonated simultaneously, the resulting explosion crippled the station, severing vital supply lines and plunging Council forces into disarray. News of this victory spread quickly, igniting celebrations across Earth. Cities lit up with fireworks, music blared from speakers, and strangers embraced in shared triumph. President Elena Rivera addressed the nation in a televised speech, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Today we've shown the galaxy what we're made of," she declared, standing tall before cameras transmitting live feeds to billions. "But our fight isn't over, not until justice is served and peace restored. Together we will prevail." Her words resonated deeply, inspiring renewed determination among citizens and soldiers alike. Though challenges lay ahead, humanity faced them united, not as individuals but as guardians of freedom and dignity. Armed with advanced technology, unwavering courage, and a shared purpose, they prepared to deliver the final blow to their oppressors. What awaited them beyond the horizon remained uncertain, but one thing was crystal clear. Earth wasn't just defending itself, it was rising like a phoenix from ashes, proving once and for all that sometimes the fiercest weapon isn't forged from metal or powered by plasma. It springs forth from hearts united in purpose, ready to defend home no matter what challenges arise next. As the war raged on, humanity's relentless resistance began to unravel hidden truths about the Galactic Council. Amidst the chaos of battle and the sacrifices made by countless soldiers, Captain Sofia Alvarez led a daring mission that would expose the Council's darkest secrets. The operation, codenamed Shadow Strike, targeted a heavily guarded data repository located deep within an asteroid belt near Jupiter. This facility wasn't just another supply depot, it was the nerve center of the Council's intelligence, network housing, classified information about troop movements, resource allocations, and strategic objectives. What no one expected was the bombshell revelation buried within its encrypted files. The raid itself was a masterpiece of planning and execution. Under cover of darkness provided by cloaking devices, Alvarez's squadron approached the massive asteroid with precision. Stealth fighters flanked the structure, creating diversions while Marines infiltrated through maintenance tunnels. Inside, they encountered minimal resistance. The Council had underestimated Earth's ability to strike so far from home. Engineers worked quickly to bypass security protocols, downloading terabytes of data onto portable drives before retreating without detection. The entire operation lasted less than 20 minutes but yielded information that would change everything. Back on Earth, analysts combed through the stolen files, uncovering evidence of corruption and manipulation at the highest levels of the Council. Documents revealed that certain factions, led by Councillor Vrax, the same reptilian diplomat who had dismissed Ambassador Hayes's pleas for peace, had deliberately provoked Earth. Their goal wasn't merely conquest or control, it was exploitation. Plans outlined in detail how Earth's government would be dismantled, replaced by puppet regimes loyal only to the Council. Rich natural resources like rare minerals and energy reserves were earmarked for extraction, with profits funneled directly into the coffers of dominant species. Most chillingly, there were proposals to enslave humanity, using forced labor to mine resources under brutal conditions. This betrayal sent shockwaves throughout Earth's leadership. President Elena Rosa Rivera convened an emergency session with her top advisors, including General Marcus Cole and Ambassador Jonathan Hayes. "They didn't just want our planet, they wanted us broken," she said, slamming her fist on the table as images of the documents flickered on screens around the room. "We're not fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting for justice." Rivera knew this revelation could shift the balance of power if handled correctly. She authorized a global broadcast, presenting the evidence alongside impassioned appeals for solidarity. Standing tall before cameras transmitting live feeds to billions, she declared, "The Council sought to divide us, to pit neighbor against neighbor. But today, we stand united, not as individuals, but as guardians of peace and prosperity. Together, we will expose their lies and reclaim what is rightfully ours." Her speech resonated deeply, not only among humans but also across the galaxy. Sympathetic species who had doubted Earth's claims now saw undeniable proof of the Council's treachery. Public opinion shifted dramatically, with calls for accountability echoing across star systems. Ambassador Hayes seized this momentum, redoubling his diplomatic efforts. Secret meetings took place aboard neutral vessels floating in deep space, where representatives from sympathetic species pledged covert support. Some offered medical supplies smuggled through blockades, while others shared intelligence about Council operations. Messages of solidarity poured in from across the galaxy, bolstering Earth's resolve during its darkest hour. Even dissenters within the Council's ranks grew bolder, questioning the morality of continuing hostilities against a species fighting for its very existence. Meanwhile, engineers raced against time to complete construction of the Archangel, humanity's ultimate weapon against the Council. Designed to serve as both command center and flagship, the colossal mothership represented hope amid despair. Its sleek design incorporated elements of stealth and durability, ensuring it could withstand prolonged engagements. Crews worked tirelessly, welding hull plates and calibrating systems until exhaustion blurred vision. When completed, the Archangel would tip the scales decisively in humanity's favor. But completing the ship wasn't enough. Earth needed allies willing to challenge the Council openly. Hayes brokered alliances with key species disillusioned by the Council's authoritarian rule. One such ally was the aquatic race known as the Aquarians, whose homeworld lay near Vega 7. For years they had suffered under the Council's oppressive policies, forced to cede control of their ocean's resources. When presented with evidence of Earth's plight, their leaders agreed to join forces, providing naval support capable of disrupting Council supply lines. Another unexpected ally emerged in the form of the Avians, winged beings renowned for their mastery of aerial combat. Though initially skeptical of humanity's capabilities, they were swayed by tales of Earth's ingenuity and resilience. Squadrons of avian pilots joined Earth's forces, adding much-needed firepower to ongoing battles. Together, these unlikely friendships strengthened Earth's position, turning isolated skirmishes into coordinated offensives aimed at crippling the Council's infrastructure. On the battlefield, humanity continued to adapt and innovate. Plasma cannons mounted on orbital platforms fired continuously, their beams carving paths of destruction through enemy formations. Stealth fighters equipped with cloaking devices slipped behind enemy lines, targeting command centers aboard flagship vessels. Ground-based anti-aircraft batteries launched missiles that screamed skyward before detonating in brilliant flashes of light. Civilians contributed wherever possible, hacking into alien communication networks to disrupt coordination efforts. One particularly devastating counterattack showcased humanity's newfound strength. A joint task force comprising Earth's Marines, Aquarian submarines, and avian bombers launched a surprise assault on a Council stronghold orbiting Saturn. This facility served as a major logistical hub, supplying frontline units with ammunition and fuel. Under cover of darkness provided by cloaking devices, Marines infiltrated the station, planting explosives at strategic locations before retreating without detection. When charges detonated simultaneously, the resulting explosion crippled the station, severing vital supply lines and plunging Council forces into disarray. News of this victory spread quickly, igniting celebrations across Earth. Cities lit up with fireworks, music blared from speakers, and strangers embraced in shared triumph. Yet amidst jubilation, sobering reminders lingered. Families mourned loved ones lost in battle, while survivors carried scars both visible and invisible. Hospitals overflowed with patients, doctors working tirelessly to save lives despite limited supplies. Artists painted murals depicting soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder with civilians, symbols of unity etched permanently into walls. Humanity's spirit remained unbroken, forged stronger by adversity. General Marcus Cole coordinated the defense effort from Earth's Central Command Hub, a secure facility buried deep beneath Washington, D.C. Maps projected onto walls showed real-time updates of troop movements and battle zones. His voice crackled over communication channels, calm but firm. "Every victory brings us closer to freedom," he instructed commanders stationed worldwide. "Stay vigilant. Our fight isn't over, not until justice is served and peace restored. As weeks turned into months, cracks widened within the Council's coalition. Certain factions questioned the wisdom of continuing hostilities, citing mounting losses and dwindling resources. Morale among enemy troops plummeted as dissent brewed within their own ranks. Captured prisoners spoke of rebellion brewing, whispers of insurrection hinting at shifting allegiances. Earth capitalized on these fractures, launching coordinated attacks designed to exploit weaknesses exposed by internal strife. One such attack targeted a Council-controlled mining colony on a distant moon. A small team of Marines infiltrated the facility, sabotaging equipment and freeing enslaved workers, forced to extract rare minerals under brutal conditions. Led by Sergeant Liam Carter, the operation succeeded beyond expectations. As explosions rocked the colony, cutting off vital resources for the Council's fleet, cheers erupted at Earth's command center. "That'll slow them down," Carter muttered under his breath as he and his team escaped aboard a stolen transport shuttle. Despite these victories, challenges remained. Alien ships rained destruction upon Earth's surface, leveling entire neighborhoods and reducing once thriving metropolises to rubble. Yet humanity refused to yield. Soldiers fought valiantly, using guerrilla tactics to ambush landing parties attempting to establish footholds. Civilians pitched in wherever possible, ferrying supplies to front lines or treating wounded troops in makeshift field hospitals. Stories of courage spread quickly. A young medic risking his life to drag injured comrades to safety. A farmer turning his tractor into an impromptu barricade. A teacher organizing evacuations for terrified students. Every act of defiance fueled morale, proving that Earth wasn't just defending itself, it was retaliating with unmatched resolve. Finally, after months of relentless combat, the tide began to turn decisively in humanity's favor. Intelligence reports revealed fractures. The final chapter of humanity's war against the Galactic Council unfolded in a blaze of glory, courage, and sacrifice. After months of relentless conflict, Earth stood on the brink of victory. But the cost had been immense. Cities lay in ruins. Millions mourned their dead, and scars etched deep into the collective soul of humanity served as reminders of the price paid for freedom. Yet amidst the devastation, hope burned brighter than ever before. The Archangel, humanity's colossal mothership, was finally ready to lead the charge in what would become known as the Battle of Saturn's Rings, a climactic showdown that would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of the galaxy itself. The battle began with a daring maneuver orchestrated by Admiral Rachel Chen, commander of the Archangel. Emerging from hyperspace amidst cheers echoing across every communication channel connected to Earth, the massive vessel loomed like a titan over the battlefield. Its sleek design shimmered under the light of distant stars, while its arsenal bristled with cutting-edge weaponry derived from Project Nemesis. Plasma cannons capable of obliterating entire fleets lined its hull, while experimental railguns fired projectiles at speeds rivaling light itself. For the Council's forces, already stretched thin by prolonged warfare, the arrival of this behemoth signaled doom. Admiral Chen wasted no time. "All units," she commanded over comms, her voice steady yet commanding, "initiate Operation Phoenix Dawn." With those words, Earth's combined fleet surged forward, launching a coordinated assault targeting key command centers aboard flagship vessels belonging to the Council's coalition. Stealth fighters equipped with cloaking devices darted between enemy formations, disabling shields and creating openings for heavier ships to exploit. Ground-based anti-aircraft batteries joined the fray, launching missiles that streaked skyward, like shooting stars before detonating in brilliant flashes of light. Civilians watched live broadcasts from bunkers below, holding their breath as humanity's greatest gamble played out above Saturn's iconic rings. At the heart of the chaos, Captain Sofia Alvarez led her squadron with unmatched bravery. Her fighter danced through dense formations of alien craft, dodging plasma bolts and retaliating with precision strikes. "Stay sharp," she shouted to her team, her voice crackling over comms. "We've got one shot at this." Behind her, Marines aboard dropships prepared to board enemy vessels, planting explosives at critical junctions. Every second counted. Every move mattered. the Council's forces fought back ferociously, unleashing devastating beams of energy that tore through space like lightning. Explosions lit up the void as beam weapons clashed spectacularly against shields flickering precariously close to failure. Amidst the cacophony of battle, personal stories unfolded, acts of heroism that defined humanity's spirit. On board a crippled cruiser, engineer Marcus Kane worked tirelessly to repair failing systems, knowing full well that his efforts might be futile. "I didn't sign up for this just to die," he muttered to himself, sweat dripping down his face, as alarms blared around him. Nearby, medic Sarah Patel risked her life to drag injured comrades to safety, ignoring the searing heat of nearby explosions. Back on Earth, families gathered around radios, praying together for safe returns. Parents hugged children tightly, whispering promises they hoped wouldn't go unfulfilled. General Marcus Cole coordinated Earth's ground forces from a secure command center buried deep beneath Washington, D.C., monitoring real-time updates projected onto walls. Maps displayed troop movements and battle zones, each marker representing lives hanging in the balance. His voice remained calm but firm as he issued orders. "Hold your positions. Every second buys us time." He knew that sustaining such an intense assault wouldn't be easy, but every minute delayed gave Earth scientists and engineers precious opportunities to refine their strategies. Meanwhile, Ambassador Jonathan Hayes delivered a final address directly to the Council via encrypted channels. Standing tall before cameras transmitting live feeds to billions, he declared, "Your reign of oppression ends today. Surrender now, or face annihilation." His words resonated powerfully, especially after witnessing firsthand the tenacity displayed by humans unwilling to bow down. Though met with skepticism initially, cracks within the Council's ranks widened further as dissenters questioned the morality of continuing hostilities against a species fighting for its very existence. As hours turned into days, the tide shifted decisively in humanity's favor. Intelligence reports revealed fractures widening within the Council's coalition, with certain factions openly rebelling against centralized authority. Morale among enemy troops plummeted further as losses mounted and resources dwindled. Captured, prisoners spoke of rebellion brewing, whispers of insurrection hinting at shifting allegiances. Earth capitalized on these fractures, launching coordinated attacks designed to exploit weaknesses exposed by internal strife. One particularly daring operation exemplified humanity's ingenuity. A small team of Marines infiltrated a council, stronghold orbiting Mars, sabotaging stockpiles of ammunition and fuel destined for frontline units. Led by Sergeant Liam Carter, a grizzled veteran known for his unorthodox methods, the mission succeeded beyond expectations, as explosions rocked the facility, cutting off vital resources for the Council's fleet. Cheers erupted at Earth's command center. "That'll slow them down," Carter muttered under his breath as he and his team escaped aboard a stolen transport shuttle. Finally, after weeks of brutal combat, the Council's armada began retreating hastily, leaving behind shattered dreams of conquest. Remnants of their once unified coalition fled toward the outer reaches of the galaxy, pursued relentlessly by Earth's forces until they vanished entirely. Following negotiations brokered cautiously yet firmly by newly empowered diplomats, terms were agreed upon ensuring fair treatment moving forward. Humanity earned respect not merely due to technological advancements, but because of something far deeper, an indomitable spirit refusing subjugation regardless of odds stacked against them. President Elena Rivera addressed the nation in a televised speech, her voice filled with emotion yet resolute. "Today we've proven that unity and determination can overcome even the greatest challenges," she declared, standing tall before cameras transmitting live feeds to billions. "But our journey doesn't end here. Together, we will rebuild, not just our cities, but our trust in one another. We will stand as guardians of peace and prosperity, ensuring no one suffers as we have." And so, standing tall amidst stars glittering brightly overhead, Earth proved beyond doubt that sometimes the fiercest weapon isn't forged from metal or powered by plasma. It springs forth from hearts united in purpose, ready to defend home no matter what challenges arise next. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same again.